Hello YouTube! In this video, I'm gonna make a fake abs thingy. Yep. For this, you're gonna need a bunch of materials, including a mannequin I made in a previous video that you can make yourself because the materials are cheap. Whatever thing you can find that has like a strong fabric. I just chose this old jacket I had in my closet. You can choose whatever. This is a bunch of goma eva. I'll write down the name in English because I'm from Spain and I don't know the name in English of this thing. But it has a very good texture to, you know, make a human-like skin base. This is something I got from an old coat. One that actually I don't have anymore because somebody stole it, and all I have from that coat is this thing. And it's very fluffy, so basically you can use anything that has like artificial fur, because this texture when squished together, it really feels similar to when you press down on skin. So yeah. This thing is basically elastic fabric. Let's see, elastic tape. I'm gonna use that to hold things together. These are for buttons. Let's see in English. Elastic band with eye sockets. Whatever eye thingy it is, I can't see. It's all very cheap. I basically bought all of this with less than 10 bucks. So yeah, and you're also gonna need a bunch of buttons and glue. This is universal glue. I already tried it out on this thing for a different project. One that I am not publishing on the internet because it was for a friend. And yeah, you're probably also gonna need a sewing kit. Because otherwise, how the heck are you gonna stitch these things together? Well, let's start. So the plan is to take the strong fabric, put it around the mannequin, cut down some parts so it looks comfortable, and then add the straps with the elastic tape and the elastic tape with buttons with eye thingies. Also add the buttons because you're gonna need to close this thing somehow. It'll go behind and strap on. That way I'll make sure that the muscles stay on me while I run. Because I'm gonna cosplay as Luffy. I really need to be able to run around easily. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna cut down the shapes of muscles, which I'll just show them to you later. You can also look at a diagram or something for that. Just cut the goma eva into the muscle shapes, and then simply paste them on and add another layer of goma eva so it looks softer. See? First it'll look like this, very noticeable, but then you add another layer of goma eva and it goes from this to this. Very noticeable to very subtle and actually looking kind of natural. At least that's the plan because I've never done this before. And this is right about the final result I first expected because I was going to use belts, but now I'm just going to use buttons. So yeah. So what I'm going to do for the base is I'm going to pick up this, put it on backwards, and start cutting. I'm cutting up the collar. Okay, so I stacked some needles on the mannequin to stretch it out so the shape actually stays in place, and when I have to cut this other side in the back so I can, you know, actually strap the things on. Yep. So then I'm gonna just stitch on some of the elastic fabric on the side and on the other side as well. Then stitch some buttons and these things so that it's actually a strap on. This is the back side. I'm gonna cut this because this is the front side of my invention. My big idea, totally gonna work. It's totally gonna work. I promise. It's gonna work. Okay, so this is how it looks after I cut off the back part. I'm probably gonna have to adjust a bunch of stuff, but I'm very proud because my mannequin is working. The first time I used my mannequin, works perfectly. I'm very happy. It works perfectly. I just stabbed a bunch of needles to keep it all in place, so at least in the shape I want it to have. And now all I gotta do is sew this on. I'm also gonna have to just, you know, change the pins to put it in position. I'll show you later. So, to add the elastic tape, you're gonna add from here to here. Right about here. There you're gonna then this, you're gonna add this on. And on the other side, from the other side, you're gonna strap it on from here to the other way around. There you're gonna add these. On the elastic tape, there are gonna be buttons, and those are going to go into the eye holes of these ones. That way it'll be a good strap on. It's also gonna be like a cross side from the shoulders so that the shoulders actually stick to the body. Like these are gonna be from here to around here, and from here to around here. Okay, so note, don't use needles that have a plastic top because they break. Now they're not needles that I can use for this stuff. But, I mean, I guess it happens when things are low quality. Okay, so you'll also want to add a little bit of elastic tape from this side to this side. This one can be a whole piece, or if you want, you can also add the buttons, but that's up to you. I mean, I'm gonna add 2 pieces. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna add 1 piece. One piece. Okay, but since this piece is too thick, I'm gonna cut it in half. Just put it. Okay, so this is basically the distribution of elastic straps for buttons and buttons. As you see, we got 2 elastic straps from the left to the right, and we got 5 pairs of buttons, simply from one side of the hip to the center of the back, or to beyond the center of the back, and it's 5 and 5. And here you got from here to this side, and we got 2 pairs, and we got a pair of buttons, 1 and 2. Right behind this, so that they can actually strap on. And it's the same on the other side, so I don't have to explain that. Right now, all I have to do is try to stitch it together, so yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Yeah. I'm just gonna try to stitch it from without taking it off from the mannequin, just stitching first the parts that are closer to the edge, just pulling things up and stitching. Same thing here, just pulling things up, stitching. Here too, I'm just gonna take this off, stitch, hope for the best. Just pick things up, stitch, hope for the best. You know, a classic when you're an amateur. On a second note, I figured out that if I add needles and just stitch things together later, it'll be much easier. Just pick up a needle, hold this up, and add the needle. That way it'll stay in place, and when you stitch it together, it's gonna adapt anyway. So yeah, I'll show you my progress later. So yeah, here's my example. I kept 1 needle, holding it into place, and then just added 2 for where I'm gonna stitch. And now it's loose, and once I do it all over the place, I'll be able to take it off from the mannequin and start working. Okay, so I'm done putting all the pins on the clothing while taking off the, oh shit, I forgot about these 2. Okay, so as I was saying, I took off all of the pins that are stuck to the mannequin, and now I can easily take it off. Actually, I forgot about to take this one off. I think that's the last one. And I can take this thing off the mannequin and start stitching, I think. Why did I hear something break? There's another one I forgot to take off here. Okay, second try on taking it off. This around here. Gotta pull this up, I think. Or down. I think down is gonna be easier. I think maybe. Yeah, down is gonna be easier. I'll show you later. Okay, I actually took it off. Now all I gotta do is start stitching. Where's my sewing needle? Oh, here it is. Time to start stitching. It doesn't really matter what color you use in the string, so just stitch with whatever you have. The buttons are right here. As long as I remember the positions, they don't need to be attached. Okay, so first I'm gonna do is cut this area over here in half up to a small point so I can actually apply it to the neck and be easier to shape. Show you later. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm gonna cut this into strips and glue them to the fabric using this universal glue, and then blow dry it so it actually doesn't take 24 hours to dry up. I have tried this before, it works, and it actually sticks pretty strong. I just hope I don't accidentally stick it to the mannequin. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is apply the shapes with needles to know where they're supposed to go. Then I'm gonna take it off the mannequin and glue it while off the mannequin, because otherwise it's probably gonna end up getting glued to the mannequin. So this is how it's going. I hope it goes better. Still working on it. Oh wait, as I said, I'm still working on it. Sorry for the music, I'm listening to music. So yeah, I'm gonna have to cut around here, stick that up, cut around here, stick that up. Yep, I'm gonna try and trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, so to secure the thing for when I actually glue it off the mannequin, I have decided to use a glue gun to paste some essential parts before taking it off the mannequin, because otherwise it's just gonna move, it's gonna be uncomfortable, etc., etc. I'm just gonna glue some points like these cuts, maybe the edges of every side. Yeah, you know, just making sure this ends up not being a failure. Okay, so I've already glued here, inside here, over here, also in the back. This area too, so that it stays in place. I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes to actually start cooling down. Well, finish cooling down. And then, I have no idea. I guess I'm just gonna take out the needles and hope that it hasn't ended up stuck on the mannequin. Good news, everybody! It came off! Okay. So now we know the technique actually works. Just unglue parts of that. And now, to actually paste the thing, I'm gonna make little holes and inject glue. Because otherwise, there's no way. Like, I'm not gonna just try to put it in here. You know what, I could do that. I could just try to put it inside this area, like, start gluing in the parts that I haven't really closed. That was the original idea, but I had a feeling it wouldn't work. But now that I actually can put my whole hand in it, I'm just gonna do that. See you later. So what you gotta do is take your universal glue. If it opens, actually. What the? Oh, messed up. I messed up. Oh, wrong direction. And start gluing. Like, put it inside, squeeze a little bit, then tap it up until it's all placed, and then you blow dry. But you have to do it with heat, because otherwise it doesn't work. It doesn't have to be a lot of air, just a lot of heat. And be careful not to touch it, because I once did, and it burns, it's very hot. I don't know if you have any of these. I got this one from my sister and mother, although my sister is the one who mostly uses it, so boop. So I have now glued half of the top part, and as you can see, there's a little bit of dry glue from the heat that turned white. That doesn't matter because this is just the base. It's gonna be covered, so you can mess up as much as you want. It's actually sticking pretty well. It feels like leather actually. The texture from behind, like around here, inside, it feels like leather. It's weird, but at least that now means it works. And also, the heated part of the goma eva feels softer, a bit tender, a bit more tender. That's a good detail because I really wanted the goma eva to feel like skin. Yeah. Okay, so after a while of pasting, apparently the glue doesn't trespass the fabric, so I'm just gonna add it to the mannequin because that's gonna be way easier. Yep. This kind of looks like I'm about to perform open heart surgery. Okay, so now it's all glued. It's all in position. Won't unstick, probably. Especially because it's tied to the fabric, and this glue is actually pretty good for goma eva. So, yep. Now what I'm gonna do is gonna pick up a marker and sketch out the shapes of the muscles. Then, using the rest of these, I'll actually make plushies. Muscle plushies with each shape, and then I'll just glue it on it. Glue it on and add another layer on top of it so it smooths out. That's gonna be a bit complicated, but I'll use the hair dryer to apply heat to the goma eva so that it's easily malleable, and just with something round, press around and until it's all glued up. So I've sketched out the main shapes, just not very visible on camera apparently. Well, I have a bunch of squares for the abs, and for the top part there's just 2 hexagons. They're deformed because that's how muscles work. And there's also these lines that look like fins, but nope, that's also muscles. And also kind of the shape of the ribs, because I'm not really sure how that works. Yep. Okay, I found something thicker to sketch it out so you can actually see how it goes. I mean, it looks better so far. I mean, that is kind of how Luffy's abs look. After all, I did use a picture as a reference. So yeah, you are perfectly welcome to use a diagram while sketching them out. I mean, I just kind of fucking improvised. Ignore the swear word, please. Also, once I add all the plushies, like around here, because there's gonna be a plushie for the chest. It's gonna be half and half plushies, and when I add an extra layer, I'm gonna add a circle here for the belly button. That's even more realistic. Oh my god, my fingers were appearing on screen. Ah! Oh well, doesn't matter, I can edit that out. Okay, so I was about to glue this here for the fillings, and then I realized, if you have enough of these, you can make yourself a fursuit. God damn it. No wonder my friends call me a furry. But no, I'm not a furry. Boop. Right now I'm just thinking, because this is supposed to be the filling of the muscles. I just cut up a bunch of these, and I mean, I'm gonna use some here and then spread it up to over here, and maybe then add the cover over it so that it stays fluffy and squishy, and so it actually feels like muscles. Oh my god, it's so soft. And then these parts, I'll actually have to cut it down smaller, and probably gonna glue it with hot glue, with the hot glue gun, like boop, and then just glue this one over it, also with hot glue. And then when it's time to add the other layer, I'd use both hot glue and normal glue. But I'm gonna have to get some more of these, because not enough. Didn't have enough with just one. And I don't have the rest of the packet. So, yep. Okay, so this is the distribution of fluff I have decided on. I'm now going to take off half of it so you can see the structure, like the positions of the fur and how I'm going to group them up into little plushies each. Okay, here you go. These are the shapes. Used a bunch of fluff balls. This one is actually composed of 3 fluff balls because I don't have enough big enough pieces. This one is part of this underside muscle that is normally under the pectoral. Then there's these that I'm not really sure what they are, but sometimes they seem to just shape the ribs. And there we go. Those are the shapes you need to make the muscles. Now all you gotta do is cover them up. make plushies with them. Just put it all together into one single shape. That has to be this shape, the one that I've sketched out. And there you go. I recommend taking off all of them and start adding them piece by piece. Like, I'm gonna take these ones off, I'm gonna glue this one up, take off the needles, and that's how I'm gonna do it. You can do it however you want, really, but that's the way I recommend you to. Okay, so I'm starting with the first pectoral. Gotta wait for the glue gun to heat up, but I'm gonna paste it up. I'm gonna glue this here. I'm gonna glue this piece and this piece all together, and then I'm gonna add a layer of goma eva over it so it actually takes the shape. The hair will be a little squished up, but that's what I want, so it's gonna go over here to over here. I'm gonna glue it from the lines I've already marked up, and that way it'll actually take the shape of a muscle, hopefully, because I've never done this before. Okay, so here's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna add hot glue here, paste, glue this, get to the other side, hot glue there, end up pasting this here, and then I'm gonna slowly add hot glue, keep pasting, add hot glue, keep pasting, and then cut off the edges. That way it'll take the shape I want, because it is. Okay, so perks of having a homemade mannequin is that you can flip it upside down if you can't reach on the underside. So I'm gonna go over here, and this is gonna look great. You're gonna see the result and see like, oh my god, that is made, that is handmade? Oh, that's so cool. You actually did it. Look. Okay, so this is my progress so far. And for the abs, I've decided that first I'm gonna glue this part, then add this, and then just loop it around and paste it again. Because otherwise it's not going to get the volume I want, so that's my solution. Okay, so I had a little problem with the glue just unsticking, so I used a bunch of needles to stick it in place until it dried up, and that works. So, do whatever you need. This is my progress. Okay, after burning my hand several times with the hot glue, I have now decided I'll be wearing a glove. This is progress. Okay, so this is my progress after like 2 days of work. Squishy. Then, when I finish actually adding these 2 muscle pieces, with these things here, I'm gonna take one of those, yes, one of those right there, and I'm gonna glue first here, and then slowly heating it up with the blow dryer, and start gluing it on the middle. Then with the dryer, I'm just gonna make it more manageable with the hands, so I can stretch it out. Add glue on every single edge, and just do it on both sides. Slowly, I'll go from the middle to the top, then both sides, with the blow dryer, just spreading around, as stretchy as I can. Paste it around here, paste it around here, etc., etc., up until I'm done covering the whole thing up, because these has a little too much glue showing. I mean, my plan was definitely from the beginning to just add a whole layer of top, just to make sure it looks smooth. at the end instead of so raggedy. So, yeah, this is how it's looking right about now. And I just got one thing to say. Trust the process. This one process I've never used once in my life. Trust it. Trust the process I just made up and followed. You'll see. It'll end up looking okay. Also, it's cheap, so doesn't matter if it looks a little off, I guess. Although I think I made some oddly big boobs. Although they're not really boobs, they're pectorals. Okay, so here comes the complicated part. For this, I'm just gonna... Actually, I can't really show you since I have... You know what, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold my phone with my chin. So I'm just gonna hold it here. Let's see if I can hold it with my chin. Open up. God damn it. Open the thing up. Add glue over here. And then start pasting everything. It's jiggling under my phone. Okay, that didn't work. You just gotta trust me. Just hold it. Move the damn thing up. Add glue over there. And start gluing everywhere like I described earlier. Using the heat gun. Well, it's not a heat gun. It's a hair dryer. It's a hair dryer. Okay, I've already glued this part. And now all you gotta do is trace the areas of deepened things while heating it up, adding some glue, and then with a round thingy, in this case I'm gonna use a brush. I'm just gonna press down and down. Then just do that with every single line. It's gonna work. I swear it's gonna work. You'll see my results and you'll see it works. So every time you glue a line, you gotta glue it, heat up, form it to the place, just keep it pressed until the glue dries, and then move on to the next line. This is the first line. I'll keep you updated when I do like 5. I think it's gonna look very good. I swear. For now it looks like a butt. Look, it looks like a butt. This is so cool. Okay, so this is how it's looking for now. Slowly taking shape. You can hardly see it. But it's gonna look natural once I finish, hopefully. I mean, it looks pretty good for now. It looks pretty good. Once I finish, it'll have all the other... And also, I did an oopsie. I forgot to take off one of the needles, and now I have a hole in my fabric. Oops. Okay, bad news. I have a bit of a setback. The hairdryer has decided to stop working on me, and I'm just gonna continue without it, because the show must go on. It's almost done. I think it's doing pretty good. Maybe I'll add another layer, because perhaps this one is too noticeable for muscles. If it doesn't look natural. Oh well, I'll just continue anyways. Okay, so I've already finished gluing the insides. Now I gotta glue the edges. But first, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut down the edges with a cutter because otherwise it's way too long and it's hard to glue. Understood? I'm gonna show you just later. Okay, so I've just sliced off the bottom, you know, so it's more comfortable. And now I'm gonna glue this to the edges and then cut the extra. So this is how the glued edge looks compared to the non-glued edge, and it would look smoother over here if I had the hairdryer to heat it up, but in the end, I guess that this looks a bit more like skin, maybe. No, it doesn't look like skin. Use a heat gun. Or whatever you have to heat the thing up, really. It doesn't look good. I'm just gonna have to cover that up with a jacket. Oh well. Okay, time to cut the excess off. As for this part up here, I might end up having to cut it, but this I'm just gonna glue because it'll help join the whole thing. Basically, this is already finished. It looks like muscles, so I'm happy. I'm proud. I'm perfectly okay with this result. Also, since I'm gonna use this for my Luffy cosplay, I'm gonna have to add a huge X scar, so it doesn't really matter to me the fact that this is a little crooked, especially because, you know, it'll fit with the whole scar thing. If you want to make any changes to the process, you can. Just do what you want. I mean, it works. This is how it goes. I'll show you me wearing it on later, but apparently some of the glue did get through and didn't dry up completely, even in like 3 days, so I'm just gonna let it dry and then try it on. Also, I can't speed up the drying process because the hair dryer is broken, so you have failed me, hair dryer. You have failed me. Also, I'm gonna have to tell that to my mother, and that's gonna be a problem because oopsie daisy. I don't know how it happened, but it just randomly stopped working. Turned it off, and then turned back on. Whoops. No feet! No! So this is how it looks. I hope you like it as much as I do. Of course, you're gonna have to wear something to cover the inside, but it looks good, doesn't it? Looks nice. Looks perfectly convincing. This is just my Luffy cosplay. I still gotta add a scar across the chest. And I'll probably need to get some wider pants because these are way too tight.